Look, I've told this story a dozen times at the American Legion, and guys still shake their heads when they hear how it went down. 0 8 seconds. Shane Coleman stood up at that conference table like he owned the place, which technically he did, being the CEO's son and all. 15 seconds. Russell, your position is no longer needed. 18 seconds. HR will meet you downstairs. I'm sitting there with my security briefing folder, still warm in my hands, having just finished presenting the infrastructure assessment for our $2. $8 billion Red Sea deal with the Saudis. 31 seconds. Every set of eyes in that room was staring at me like I'd grown a second head. Name's Russell Kane, by the way. 37 seconds. I'm 54, been doing international logistics for defense contractors for the past 16 years. 43 seconds until that moment, I was senior director of international logistics at Coleman Defense Solutions, but that title doesn't tell you the real story. 52 seconds. C. I was the guy with Pentagon Level 3 security clearance for Saudi operations. 56 seconds. The only one in that building who could handle classified supply chain stuff that keeps American interests secure over there. 1:02. 1 minute, 2 seconds when things got stuck in red tape or some cultural issue went sideways. They called me. Not because I was the smartest guy in the room, but because I'd been there. 1:11. 1 minute, 11 seconds done that, and had the relationships to fix it. 1:15. 1 minute, 15 seconds, midnight calls from Pentagon officials navigating bureaucracy that would make your head spin, handshake deals that lawyers couldn't touch. 1:23. 1 minute, 23 seconds. I'd pulled their bacon out of the fire more times than I could count. And my reward, getting fired in front of our biggest client. Want to know the kicker? 1:30. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Just a week before, Shane had pulled me aside after one of our late strategy sessions. You'll be right there next to me for the signing, Russell. 1:38. 1 minute, 38 seconds. This is going to be historic for the company. I believed him. After 16 years, I figured loyalty went both ways. Shows you how much I knew. 1:47. 1 minute, 47 seconds. Shane Coleman arrived at Coleman Defense about 18 months ago, right around my 14th year with the company. 1:53. 1 minute, 53 seconds. Fresh Wharton MBA, 31 years old, with one of those resumes that makes board members get all excited. Daddy's boy, obviously, but he had the credentials to back it up. 2:02. 2 minutes, 2 seconds from day one, he was brought in to modernize. Our international ops 2:07. 2 minutes, 7 seconds. What that meant, I found out pretty quick, was getting rid of anything he couldn't put in a spreadsheet. Military relationships, old-fashioned. 2:15. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Security protocols, inefficient. The personal connections that had kept our Middle East business running smooth for over a decade, just unnecessary overhead. 2:26. 2 minutes, 26 seconds. I remember the first team meeting after he arrived. He's got this PowerPoint presentation about digital transformation and streamlined processes. 2:35. 2 minutes, 35 seconds. Half the slide deck was about eliminating redundant human touchpoints in favor of automated systems. I'm sitting there thinking, kid, you can't automate trust. 2:44. 2 minutes, 44 seconds. But I kept my mouth shut. You don't survive 16 years in this business by picking fights on day one. Our first real clash happened about 6 months after he arrived. 2:54. 2 minutes, 54 seconds. He'd fast-tracked a proposal for some defense work in Qatar without running it through proper Pentagon clearance. 3 minutes. The document had specifications that straight-up violated ITAR regulations. You know, the stuff that keeps American military tech from ending up in the wrong hands. 3:09. 3 minutes, 9 seconds. I caught it during my routine security sweep. 3:11. 3 minutes, 11 seconds, quietly flagged the violations, restructured the whole proposal to meet DoD guidelines, and sent it through proper channels. Contract went through without a hitch. 3:21. 3 minutes, 21 seconds. Shane never asked how the final version passed so smooth. Hell, I don't think he even knew I'd touched it. 3:27, 3 minutes, 27 seconds. But here's the thing, it mattered to me because the next week I'm walking past the boardroom and I hear his voice carrying through the half-open door. 3:35, 3 minutes, 35 seconds. We're streamlining operations, he's saying. Too many layers slow us down, people like Russell Kane. Good guy, but he gets bogged down in outdated protocols. 3:44, 3 minutes, 44 seconds. We don't need to babysit clients through military bureaucracy. 3:47, 3 minutes, 47 seconds. We just need signatures. I'm standing there in the hallway with my coffee and that hit me hard. 3:52, 3 minutes, 52 seconds. Outdated protocols. He'd just written off 16 years of careful, relationship building, of keeping American contractors out of international incidents. 4 minutes is babysitting. I didn't say anything. What was I going to do? March in there and throw a fit? That's not how you handle things when you've been around the block. 4:09, 4 minutes, 9 seconds. But I filed that moment away. You know how it is. Sometimes you hear something that changes how you see everything else. 4:15, 4 minutes, 15 seconds. The thing about Shane was he had this way of making everything sound like progress. Efficiency metrics, digital solutions, scalable frameworks. 4:25, 4 minutes, 25 seconds. But what he was really doing was tearing down relationships that had taken years to build. 4:30, 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Like the time he decided our monthly check-ins with Pentagon liaisons were inefficient, wanted to replace them with quarterly reports. 4:37, 4 minutes, 37 seconds. I had to explain to him that the defense world, relationships aren't maintained through reports. 4:42, 4 minutes, 42 seconds. They're maintained through showing up, being present, proving you're reliable when things get complicated. He looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. 4:50, 4 minutes, 50 seconds. From then on, every meeting with Shane felt like walking through a minefield. He'd push for speed. I'd make sure we stayed compliant. 4:58, 4 minutes, 58 seconds. He'd send out half-reviewed proposals. I'd catch the problems before they became disasters. 5:03, 5 minutes, 3 seconds. The whole time he's acting like he's running the show, never noticing that I'm the one keeping it from falling apart, but I kept my mouth shut. 5:11, 5 minutes, 11 seconds. Military training, you know, you don't let emotions mess up the mission. But underneath all the professional courtesy and perfect briefings, 5:18, 5 minutes, 18 seconds. I was getting pretty fed up with the whole situation. 5:20, 5 minutes, 20 seconds. The breaking point came about a year into his tenure. We were bidding on a massive logistics contract for joint operations in the Gulf. 5:27, 5 minutes, 27 seconds. Shane had this brilliant idea to use an AI system to generate our proposal responses. 5:32, 5 minutes, 32 seconds. Why spend weeks crafting personalized presentations when we can automate the whole process? I tried to explain that our Saudi partners expected certain protocols. 5:41, 5 minutes, 41 seconds, certain acknowledgements of our shared history. 5:43, 5 minutes, 43 seconds. That wasn't inefficiency, that was respect. But he was convinced his digital solution was the future. 5:49, 5 minutes, 49 seconds. The AI-generated proposal was technically accurate, but completely tone-deaf. It read like a form letter. 5:56, 5 minutes, 56 seconds. No acknowledgement of our military partnership, no understanding of the cultural significance of the project. I knew it would be dead on arrival, so I did what I always did. 6:05, 6 minutes, 5 seconds. I quietly rewrote the sections that mattered, added the proper references. 6:10, 6 minutes, 10 seconds, included the acknowledgements that would signal respect, sent it through under his name. 6:15, 6 minutes, 15 seconds. We won the contract, $1, $8 billion over 3 years. Shane took full credit, of course. 6:22, 6 minutes, 22 seconds, gave a presentation to the board about how his innovative approach had secured the biggest deal of the quarter. 6:28, 6 minutes, 28 seconds. Never mentioned my rewrites. Never acknowledged that his original version would have been rejected in the first meeting. 6:34, 6 minutes, 34 seconds. That's when I started keeping copies of everything. By the time the Red Sea Infrastructure Initiative hit the final stage, we were talking about serious money. 6:42, 6 minutes, 42 seconds, 8 billion on the line, spread. Across defense, logistics, 6:46, 6 minutes, 46 seconds. Infrastructure development, joint security operations. Complex stuff that takes months to set up, right? 6:53, 6 minutes, 53 seconds. I'd been involved in every step, not because my job description said so, but because without my Pentagon clearance, the deal literally couldn't happen. 7:07 minutes, 1 second. The Saudi Defense Consortium had security protocols that were all about trust and verification. Every phase needed biometric authentication from the designated security liaison. 7:11. 7 minutes, 11 seconds. That was me. Wasn't just some password thing either. 7:14, 7 minutes, 14 seconds. This was verification of trust built on years of joint military operations and shared missions. 7:20, 7 minutes, 20 seconds. You don't just swap that out because some MBA thinks it's more efficient. But I'd done my homework on this deal way before Shane ever showed up. 7:28, 7 minutes, 28 seconds. See, I'd been working with General Lycaid, Omar al-Rashid for years. 7:32, 7 minutes, 32 seconds. We go way back to my Air Force days, served together on joint operations in Afghanistan from 2006 to 2008. 7:39, 7 minutes, 39 seconds, built the kind of trust you only get when you've watched each other's backs in dangerous situations. Now he's running the Saudi Defense Consortium. 7:46, 7 minutes, 46 seconds. And when Coleman Defense landed this contract, it was because of our relationship, not some fancy proposal. I remember the first time I saw Omar after his promotion to general. 7:56, 7 minutes, 56 seconds. This was about 3 years ago at a defense contractor conference in D.C. He walks up to me with that same grin he had when we were both majors and says, 8:04, 8 minutes, 4 seconds. Russell Kane, you look like you've been eating too well in civilian life. That's military humor for you. 8:09, 8 minutes, 9 seconds, but what he said next was serious. When we start looking for American partners on the Red Sea Infrastructure Project, your name will be first on the list. 8:17, 8 minutes, 17 seconds. Not your company, you. The gift I'd prepared for the signing wasn't your typical corporate nonsense either. 8:24, 8 minutes, 24 seconds. I'd commissioned a display case with a military challenge coin from our shared deployment, the real deal, something that meant something to both of us. 8:32, 8 minutes, 32 seconds. Along with it, I'd written remarks that acknowledged our military brotherhood and the strategic partnership our countries had built through actual sacrifice. 8:40, 8 minutes, 40 seconds. But I'd also spent some late nights reading through every line of that master contract. 8:45, 8 minutes, 45 seconds. And buried deep in the fine print, I found something interesting, a security continuity clause. 8:51, 8 minutes, 51 seconds if the designated liaison with Pentagon clearance got removed before the authentication sequence was complete. The whole agreement would automatically void after a 24-hour security review period. 9:01, 9 minutes, 1 second, no appeals, no renegotiation, done deal. 9:03, 9 minutes, 3 seconds. I didn't mention this little detail to Shane, not because I wanted the deal to fail, but because 16 years in this business taught me something important. 9:11, 9 minutes, 11 seconds. Real leverage doesn't come from making threats. It comes from knowing exactly where the boundaries are and who's about to cross them. 9:18, 9 minutes, 18 seconds. The morning of the signing, Shane took one look at my prepared remarks and made this disgusted face. Too sentimental, Russell. 9 to 25, 9 minutes, 25 seconds. We need to focus on efficiency metrics and deliverable timelines. 9:28, 9 minutes, 28 seconds. Then he handed all my materials over to Jessica Barnes, his 24-year-old cousin who just graduated business school and barely knew a defense contract from a coffee order. 9:38, 9 minutes, 38 seconds. Jessica was a nice enough kid, don't get me wrong, but watching her try to prep for this presentation was like watching someone study for